We're just oppie boys living in an oppie world because we're talking movies. We're talking Oppenheimer, starring Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, and Emily Blunt, based on the book American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer by Kai Bird and Martin J. Schuer, written for the screen by Christopher Nolan, who also directed. Chris, amateurs chase the sun and get burned. Power stays in the shadows.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves, and the world is not prepared. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? For the first, not the first time, but the first time in a long time, Scott and I actually saw the movie together.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
We saw 70 millimeter prints of Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan. And we had to endure a hour-long car ride, basically not talking about the film, because we talk about the films and you're hearing them as we talk about them. So Scott, take us away.
Wow, you just fucking took my opening.
That's what you get for stealing my quotes with this time, which I actually was like, I thought, just because I think you said it multiple times when we were at the thing, the whole here I come, the destroyer of worlds. I was like, well, I can't take that quote. Scott's gonna use it, and then you flip the script on me in there. So
yeah, because I figured that was the one you were going to take it, because that was the first quote on IMDb. I'm like, well, that's the one Chris is going to take. Let me scroll down a little bit. But yeah, as Chris said, somebody told me I had to fucking watch this movie in 70 millimeter. So the 10 p.m. tickets to an IMAX 70 millimeter was purchased, and after some misdirections, because somebody can't hear his Siri or whoever the fuck Samsung's is, and some close calls because he decided to turn into lanes that were ending with poles in front of us, we fucking made the show. I'll say this though, it's a beautiful movie. It's stunning to watch, and I think what makes it stunning, and I know Chris is going to beat me over the head with this, is just how simplicity these shots looked. Right, because a lot of them were just Cillian Murphy standing there staring at the camera in rain, but it's just like fucking beautiful to watch.
So what I'm hearing is you love to watch men in the rain. Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coming out, buddy.
We all have a type.
And yours is a super skinny Cillian Murphy smoking cigarettes in black and white. That's your type.
Well, I like the color parts too, but you do know, like, you know why some were in color and some were in black and white, right?
Yeah, because some were subjective and some were out, and also from his perspective, and then the black and white stuff was the other character's perspective of him.
I am too smart. I am too smart.
You're good.
Yeah, it's almost like I was getting myself ready to do a podcast about this movie.
I know, eh? So this movie, what was the budget for this movie?
So it's got $100 million budget. I know that Christopher Nolan, in his list of demands, so I just want to read some of these stipulations. So first off, it's $100 million budget. It had to have also a matched marketing budget. So we're in the $200 million range for all costs in. And so far it has done 33 million. We're recording this. Did it come out Friday or Thursday?
I think it came out usually Thursdays are
late Thursday. Yeah. So you guys are hearing this like a week after it came out. So that 33 million number will have moved because we're recording it on the Sunday after it came out. So yeah.
Yeah, it's no Barbie numbers.
Barbie's done 77 or something like that as of the time of this recording.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Here's the thing. Do you think, after watching it, do you think this movie does have the legs to pull a profit? Because I have a theory.
So I think, there's not a lot else on that I'm aware of that's coming out this summer. So this sucker could so some of his stipulations, Christopher Nolan stipulations, it also include a 3-week period before and after the films are released where Universal can't release another film. So he's got this big block of time in the theaters. He has taken up all the IMAX theaters. I'm going to say that it's at least going to break even. I mean, I don't see this being a $1 billion film, not because it's not good. I just don't think that the audience is there for a 3-hour, super serious. And, I was talking to our producer right before we started, like, I'm having trouble explaining the feeling I get from this film. And I do have a quote that I'll use later on. But for me, the word serious, like, it just felt like a serious movie in a way that, like, Schindler's List felt not less serious, but this felt more serious than Schindler's List. And one is about the Holocaust. Like, anyway, what's your theory? What's your theory on whether this thing's I think it's gonna break even.
Yeah, I think it'll get around 200 now on its first release. And I think this movie is going to sweep the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Which then it's going to get re-released, and that's when it starts making its profits. That's my guess, because I think
and a prophet can't be wrong, not even once.
No, a prophet can't be wrong. But yeah, because that's.
I love how every film we do, though, you're like, so this is an Oscar film. This one, I agree with you. At least.
No, this one will. I 100% Cillian Murphy, best actor, which will lead to a 28-year later sequel with Danny Boyle, because now now they're like, hey, he's a lead actor again, right? I think
you're referring to what 28 Days Later.
Yeah, so now it'll be like 28 years later, right? Because it's been a while. But I think Florence Pugh for supporting actress.
Mm-hmm.
I think Downey for supporting actor.
Yeah. And I bet you it's going to be like Greta Barbie. No. There is no lead female. They're all supporting. I think that just on the like hype of the film, what the hell's her name?
Margot Robbie.
Thank you. Margot Robbie is probably going to get a nomination just because. Like, I just can't imagine her not getting a nomination.
Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
But yeah, and then obviously this film will get best adapted, best director,
best cinematography.
It's going to take all the technical shit. I like even now.
Oh, sound design, editing.
Yeah, since we're halfway through the year, I can already guess that fucking nothing's going to beat the sound of a nuclear explosion going off, except for the guy snoring beside me, because that sound was amazing.
So hold on. First off, I want to talk about Christopher Nolan, like what his stipulations for this film, and just before I lose track of it. Okay. So his stipulations were a marketing budget, a production budget of 100 million, marketing budget of 100 million, exclusive theatrical window. This is my favorite, and I think I talked to you about this like even before we'd seen the movie. So he gets 20% first dollar gross. So for any of you out there that don't know what that means, it means the movie doesn't even have to make money. He gets paid on 20% on every fucking dollar that comes into the film. So he's already made $6.6 million. This movie could like fucking flop and he's still getting paid. And that is such a powerful contract to have, because you're guaranteed your back end regardless. And it avoids all the like shady Hollywood accounting where they're like, oh, the film didn't make any money. You're like, but it made $2 billion. Like, yeah, but there was expenses, so there's no money for you. He's getting paid no matter what.
I'm rich, bitch!
That's a Chris contract right there.
Oh, I hope it's a Chris contract at some point. To my point about this being like a super serious movie. So Matt Zoller cites at RogerEbert.com had this to say: as a physical experience, Oppenheimer is something else entirely. It's hard to say exactly what, and that's what's so fascinating about it. And I 100% agree with that statement. I'm really having trouble explaining this film with any type other than just like, it's beautiful and it's well acted. It's like, it's so powerful, but I don't know if I've ever seen a film that kind of like, and again, getting to see it on that big screen, although we were a bit close, that is my fault. We were very close to that nuclear bomb. Seeing a big film print like this, I don't know if I've felt like this, whatever this is, about a film in my, like, maybe ever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like to me, this film's technically, I don't know, it's pretty much, to me, it was like three movies in one, right? Like you have like your courtroom drama,
Yeah.
and that gave you a totally different feel than anything else, right? Because you had the two technical, like the Oppenheimer, what was it? The not his trial, but his security
It's the
clearance thing.
security clearance. Yeah.
So you had like that intensity plus the
The Senate
Robert,
hearing.
yeah, the Senate hearing for Robert Downey Jr.'s character to become part of the Senate. And those had totally different feeling. Then you had like technically, kind of his personal life story, which had a different kind of thing because you kind of feel for him there. And then you had technically the story of the building of this
Of the atomic bomb.
yeah, so I think that might be why, because going in you're probably thinking this film's one thing when it's really, it's a good soup, right? It has a bunch of different ingredients mixed into it that, just uh makes you feel, I don't want to say good, but like it makes you feel something after when it's all done and they all blend together.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. How did it make you feel as a audience member?
Yeah, like all these comments about people being super depressed after the movie, I was not depressed. um it it made me, you know it made me thankful that, I listened to somebody and watched it in the IMAX. Now again, watching it in 70 millimeter, or going to our local cinema and just watching it the way it's presented now, I have no idea what the difference is going to be, and I really don't know if I want to rewatch another 3 hour movie again, right? um but yeah, like I enjoyed it. Like to me, this is one, and I've said this before in terms of the podcast, like Nolan is one that I was kind of losing interest in terms of his films, because it was becoming more like, I'm going to make it so fucked up you're not going to understand what it is, but it's still beautiful to look at kind of films. And I think this one kind of, in my, like, it made me enjoy it more because it was straight and narrow. There wasn't really any like, do you get it, like winking at the audience, like, do you get this, like,
Do you
I'm
understand
so
black
much.
holes? Because I
Yeah,
do. Can't you
yeah,
tell? And you're like, I don't know what you're doing in this movie. Why is
yeah.
everything backwards? Why is the sound weird?
So that's why, like, I enjoyed this, and it is one, I would say, one of the better, or it will be his, I don't want to say magnus opus, but I think this is the one that a
Like
lot
he'll
of
be
people are,
remembered for.
yeah, like Spielberg and, Josh, but no, it's Spielberg and Schindler's List, but it's the one, or Saving Private Ryan, right? Like those are the two that they're like, fuck Spielberg. I think this is gonna be it. I think it'll be this one in fucking Dark Knight Rises, or no,
Dark Knight.
yeah, just Dark Knight.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Do you think this is hit? Like you personally, do you think this is his best film?
Um, like I'll be honest, I haven't watched all this film. I've never watched Interstellar.
What? What the fuck?
Why are you the way that you are?
Are you stupid or something?
I'm as stupid as stupid does.
Because I really couldn't go for another movie where somebody has to save Matt Damon. I'm like, I'm tired of fucking this damsel in distress Matt Damon. So I haven't watched that, and I've never finished Insomnia because that movie has put me to sleep every time I've tried to watch it.
Which it's supposed to be the exact opposite. It's insomnia,
Yeah.
not sleepy time.
Yeah, those are the two I haven't like watched yet, so I can't really say. Like this is, for me, this is one of the tops. Like it's Dark Knight, then it would be this one for me. Or actually no, it would be, well, oh fuck, what's his first one?
Memento.
Brain.
Oh
Yeah.
no, follow or is it following?
No, Memento.
Memento.
The
Okay.
one with Guy Pearce. That
Yeah,
one's
yeah.
still number one for me.
That's a fucking cool flick. And that's so you can, if you look at like Dark Knight is super entertaining. Again, beautifully shot, fantastic film. I found that this film was like, I don't want to say it was not entertaining in the way you expect to be entertained by a movie. It's like, it really was like watching history unfold and just being in awe of it. And I films like this, I don't even know how you direct something this big. Like, there is a scale to this film that is feels like the scale of what it must have been working on the atomic program, because like you said, there's multiple kind of story aspects going on. There's insanely good cinematography, but there's also like him showing chain reactions of like a nuclear explosion and then all montage together. And by montage, I mean just like in the sequence of, not like montage the way like a Rocky montage is.
That's when you need to put yourself to the test and show us a passage of time. We're gonna need a montage.
Plus that score, that fucking score is amazing. Like, the use of sound in this film was perfect. Like, I know that in Tenet, people complained about like, not being able to hear stuff and everything, which has to be deliberate, because like when you make a film, you do a whole sound post process. It's not accidental. He definitely didn't have that problem in this film. The composer is Ludwig Göransson, and I think he worked with him. Actually, he worked with him on Tenet. But it's so powerful and so perfectly done. Like, there's nothing you could change. Like, it doesn't have the same like John Williams like distinct. Like, you can't, like, you come out of Jaws and you're like, no, 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 no. But this is just like the best. Like, the shots and the music go together so seamlessly, they just become one. It's like fusion, not fission.
Do you just have these little like little nitbits written down? You're like, oh, I gotta say this because it sounds smart and it ties into the movie.
No. I'm just a really smart guy. So
yeah,
and humble.
Yeah, I'll say this, like, in terms of the casting, like, fucking amazing, right? Like, not even the main cast, but when you have all these like cameos of actors coming in and you're like, holy fuck, it's him. I thought it was fucking amazing to watch, right? Especially you just knocking me over like, is that Gary Oldman?
Yeah. Like, fucking, I didn't even like, there's so many. Okay, so you've got Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, Remy Malek, Kenneth Branagh, I can never say his last name, probably Savadi, the one of the directors guys, right? You've got Gary Oldman. You've got the list is just like, I'm scrolling through the list. It's massive. Like, so even to get this cast, so Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, and Emily Blunt for sure took pay cuts. They got $4 million each instead of their usually $10 to $20 million salaries. Like, I can imagine like actors being like, you don't even have to fucking pay me. Like, every single role was perfect. The fucking actor that played Albert Einstein, like, spot on. Like, there is not a bad casting decision in this entire movie. Robert Downey Jr. was so good. I like turned to Scott and I'm like, who played that dude? And you're like, it's fucking Robert Downey Jr., buds. Like, I couldn't believe he just disappeared. Like, it's good to see him back in like proper acting form. Like, no more not Marvel bullshit or whatever. Like, reminding us that he actually is a really fantastic actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I always thought he was a good actor, but what was I gonna say? Like,
I think
in
this
terms
is
of
his best role since Chaplin.
Sure.
You disagree?
Come on, like, there's Air America, like, chances are fucking there's so many good roles. But
Fair enough. But I mean, as a big dramatic lead, like, I think Chaplin was the one that like really stands out as like a tour de force as an acting.
Yeah, but he's not a lead in this one, right?
Correct.
But yeah, in terms of your comment prior about the cast, Matt Damon was actually about to start a acting sabbatical. And he told his wife only if Nolan calls him, he'll go. And
then Matt called Nolan and he's like, yo, I gotta get the fuck out of the house. You gotta give me this role.
No, apparently Nolan called them like literally like 3 or 4 days after or something like that. Like literally they made this arrangement and then yeah, he called them.
So even modern psychology has a caveat
For Chris.
And the other thing, I think I read this now. You can't really believe everything you read on the internet, but in terms of they got the script, but no one knew who they were playing until they got on set.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, like that's the same information that I've got too. Like, I don't know if it meant that they like until they were on set, but like basically until all the casting was done, and then it was like, here you go. Like even when Robert Downey Jr. went to read the script, Nolan had it at his house, and it was written in black on red, so that you cannot fucking copy it. Like, I mean, I guess you could take photos of it with your phone or whatever, but I picture like Robert Downey Jr. like reading it and Christopher Nolan standing with his like arms crossed behind him or some shit like that. Like that motherfucker isn't leaving here. And like that was the level of secrecy, which is weird. It's like the same level of secrecy for the script as the Manhattan Project, right? People can't know who's doing what and where. We got actors in different parts of the world working on this film. I'm really happy that this film got made. I'm really happy I got to see it in like beautiful 70mm film. And it just shows like there's a reason we go to the theater. Like, I don't care how big your fucking home theater is. It's not going to be this. Like you're not going to get this at your house. And I would recommend that I do think that if you like film, if you like cinema, if you're looking to be super entertained, don't go watch this film. Like, I
think
go watch Barbie first, and then do the whole Barbiheimer thing.
No, I think it was entertaining. Like
what I mean is, if you're looking for like a popcorn big movie Jurassic Park kind of summer vibe, yeah, you are going to be coming out of this movie depressed, like physically not well.
Well, yeah, I guess based on what happened. But listen, like in terms of, I know you're saying one of his demands is the 100 million like matching marketing budget. Just the memes and everything about this movie that's been going on prior to it, like this, it's the free advertising that they're getting, I think, is what's gonna give it some legs, especially after this first weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And because not everybody's going to be able to do like the actual Barbiheimer double feature. So like I'm going to go see Barbie today. And so I'll have completed the weekend. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. But you're right. Like we talked about this as well. Like you could not buy the level of like market penetration that they got by accident. Like, I don't know who started the whole Barbiheimer thing, but it itself, like a chain reaction, just kept going and going and going and going, to the point that like you have people doing mashups. You have people making like I sent you like a TikTok or something like that, where people were like the Oppenheimer Barbie, like live action, like with toys. Like, it's crazy. And again, like that $100 million did not buy that. That was all free. So I wonder how upset Tom Cruise is about all this. Like, why isn't there a Mission Impossible Barbie?
Oh,
Barbie Dead Reckoning. I can.
Anyways, well, I think too, like no one really goes up against Tom Cruise, right? Like in terms of openings. And I think when WB was fitting Barbie in, and who ended up producing this or distributing this,
I thought it was Universal.
Okay, so Universal does that. They pick this one, right? They're literally thinking it's two different target audiences, right? Like Barbie's only going to be for the females, and stereotypical Hollywood, they probably think that it wasn't going to have legs. Or
Barbie has all kinds of legs. What are you talking about?
You know what exactly? They just don't have vaginas or penises. And that Oppenheimer would probably score in terms of the male demographic.
Which I'll be honest, that was the demographic that was at the theater on Friday. It was primarily dudes.
Yeah, but there was a couple. Yeah, there was a couple of the Barbie people that showed up because we did see them in the pink after, and we even commented like, "Fuck, 5 hours in a theater, man. That's well good for cineplexes because that's a lot of fucking popcorn and pop. You just you just find."
It's a lot of toilet breaks. I'm surprised you actually you did good. You made it through the whole movie without having to go pee.
Yeah, well, I couldn't wake up the guy beside me, man. Like he was snoring. I couldn't like tell him to move his legs because he looks comfortable, right? Like the fuck. I just can't believe the guy fell asleep right before the bomb was gonna go off and did not wake up when the bomb went off.
Yeah,
So-
and not to like give anything away. Again, I highly suggest anybody listening to this, if you haven't seen it by the time you listen to this podcast, go and watch it. When they do the countdown for the first test of the atomic bomb, like it was like I was on a roller coaster and I'm going up the hill part of the roller coaster, waiting for it to get down to zero. And then the way they shot it with the like aftershock and everything, I was like, this is amazing. But I was like gripping my seat, waiting to get like punched in the chest from the like low end base from that shockwave. Like they're like, I've seen this film described as like a biopic inside of a thriller, and it's true. Like really, this could have been a super boring film about like some old man that did some old ass shit, and Christopher Nolan keeps you on the edge of your seat for basically 3 hours. Like everything about this film is well done. Like was there anything that you found like didn't need to be there?
Oh, I'll say like in terms of especially it being 3 hours, like I think like I'm a novice in terms of this history. Like I knew nothing really about it. I just knew they built the bomb and they dropped it on Hiroshima.
And Nagasaki.
Yes. Look, that was literally a line from the movie.
Oh yes,
They're
yes,
just
yes,
talking
yeah,
about,
that's right. That's right.
they're talking about Hiroshima, and then Oppenheimer corrected them. They're like, there's another one too. But yeah, like watching the struggles, and it was kind of an interesting callback to Dark Knight because you either die a hero or you live long enough and you're the villain, right?
Oh my god, we should just finish on that. That's perfect. But we're not going to.
And I was gonna say because I had a question for you too.
Yeah. So I mean, so right now it's got 94s across the board for critics and audience. 3 hours long. Like I said, made 33 million. I really hope it like at least makes its money back. Fucking Christopher Nolan doesn't care. He's already $6 million richer than he was, before the weekend started. So that's not bad. What's your question?
Because about all these demands and stuff like that. Here's my question: is Kenneth Branagh's demand that he can't be English anymore? Because why is he always playing like Russian and Danish? Like,
yeah, and he's doing all the Agatha Christie stuff too, right? So
yeah.
I mean, he's a Shakespearean actor, right? So he probably likes to do the character stuff as much as possible.
Don't hurt the face. I'm an actor.
Yeah, man, I can't get over how good the cast is, down to like even the most minor of characters, right? So this is the advantage of when you're someone like Christopher Nolan. It's like when you call, people are like, I'll be right there.
Yeah, it was like not spoilers, but same thing. Like you're talking about like Rami Malek, right? And then when you first see him, it's like he's a background player. Like he hardly says any. I'm like, how did this Oscar fucking nominated person did
he win the Oscar?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought he won it.
That's what I'm
Freddie
saying.
Mercury.
Like
Yeah.
Oscar nominated and everything like that, right? And I'm like, does Nolan have that big of balls that he's like, listen, you're gonna be in my movie, but you're just a background player.
And you're
like,
just gonna hold an
right?
umbrella. You're not gonna say anything. Just stand there.
And then you kind of forget he's in the movie, and then he ends up being kind of pivotal in terms of the turning point on the Senate stuff. And when he actually has his lines and shit like that, you're like, holy shit. I forgot.
Well, you're right. Like I don't even know if he says like 5 words when he first comes on the screen. And you're right. He's like a backer. He's playing like the assistant to some other dude. Like, so yeah, man, again, that is the power of like being one of these directors, whether you're Tarantino or Spielberg or Nolan, is you're like, I'm making this tour de force film, and you can be part of history or not. And you're like, if you're an actor, you're like, yes. Like Robert Downey Jr. says it's the best film he's ever been in.
Yeah, like in terms of content, the biggest context I have is rolling Oliver Stone's JFK. Because that one too was just like fucking one actor after another actor, and it was all like the top actors at the time in the 90s too.
Well, and yeah, he was definitely like the director going into JFK. I mean, then he started making some other kooky stuff, but at that point, like he was the man, I would argue. Like Oliver Stone was like the hot guy in Hollywood and had been for a while at that point. So he had that kind of power.
And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
So Scott, are you gonna Barbiheimer this weekend, or when's your Barbie experience?
I did it yesterday.
Oh wow! And did you enjoy it? Was Barbie good?
We'll talk about it next week.
Nice. Nice. Did you take the kids?
I took my 2 daughters and my niece. So
And are you? Do you think you'll go? I know you said you aren't sure, but if you were to see Oppenheimer again, would you do it differently? Like, would you?
Yeah, I'd probably just go regular just to see what the difference is, right? Like to compare and contrast. Like, because my son wants to go watch it, but now after watching it too, I'm like, there's a lot of times I would have to put my hand over his eyes, right?
No, man, that's art. And Florence Pugh, she does some good art,
especially in that trial scene.
Yeah.
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.